Hey everybody, so I'm going to make a really quick video on comparing and contrasting since that's the topic that we're going to be discussing and the skill we're going to be using for the next couple of weeks. Alright, so first off, you can see that I have written what it means to compare. It means how two things are the same. So whenever I'm reading two texts, I might see the word similar, both, or like to see how two ideas are the same. Or I might even use these keywords in my own response when I'm comparing two texts, okay? All right, I see the word contrast over here. That means how two things are different. So some of the keywords I could look for would be however, but, or unlike. Okay. All right. I can also use those words in my own response whenever I'm contrasting two texts on two different ideas. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you one example. It's not the same as the one that you're going to be working through, but it's very similar. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the excerpt from book number 1 and then an excerpt from book number 2, and we're going to compare them and see how they are similar. Okay? All right, so it says from book 1, sharks are creatures that live in the ocean. They use their tails and their fins to help them get around. Okay? All right, so let's look at book 2. Sharks have extremely sharp teeth. They use their teeth to catch and to eat their prey. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the words in the two texts that show how they are the same. So as you can see, the only thing I've circled here would be the word sharks because pretty much every other detail is different from the other. Okay? All right, so what I put for my example sentence here, how are the two texts the same? Both texts are about sharks. It's as simple as that. So the key word that I used here was the word both, and that tells me that the two ideas are similar. All right, so what we're going to do next, after we've compared the two excerpts, we're going to go ahead and contrast them. So I want to know, how are the two texts different? So what I need to do next is underline the words in the two texts that show how they're different, because once again, we're wanting to make sure we can use text evidence. So we're going to go back in the text and see the different ideas. So what I underlined here from book number 1 is that it talks about how they are creatures that live in the ocean. It talks about their tails and their fins and how they use those features to help them get around. This was not mentioned in book number 2. That's why I underlined those details. It tells how it is different. For book number 2, since I don't see anything about creatures living in the ocean, I don't see anything about tails or fins, I'm underlining different ideas completely. So I've seen in book number 2, it talks about their extremely sharp teeth, and it talks about their teeth used to catch and eat prey. All right, so I've underlined the differences in my two excerpts. Now I'm going to go ahead and use that in my answer. So I'm going to contrast the two different books. Book 1 talks about sharks living in the ocean and how they get from place to place using their tails and fins. I used those ideas taken directly from the book, but I did tweak them a bit so they're in my own words. Then I said, however, book 2 discusses the sharp teeth of sharks and how this helps them to catch and eat their food. Okay, so if you notice, the key word I used here was however, and that shows that I'm contrasting two different ideas or showing how they are different. All right, so I can't wait to see your own work. This is just a preview of what you will be doing. So you also are going to have excerpts from two different books, book 1, book 2. You're going to look at how they are the same, which means you're going to compare them. And I just need one sentence, and I would like for you to use a key word. You could use the word both, you could use the word similar, you could use the word like. And you're also circling words that show how they're the same, once again using text evidence. Okay? All right. Next, you're going to look at how they're different. So you're going to be contrasting the two. So first, you're going to tell me about book 1. What does it discuss? And you're going to tell me about book 2. What does it discuss? And before you do this piece, I'd like for you to go through and underline the words in the text that show you how they are different. Okay? That way we can use text evidence. All right. I can't wait to see your work. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.